Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. A happy St. Patrick's Day for Toronto Maple Leaf fans. I'm JD Bunkis. He's Sam McKee. It's St. Pat's talk tonight. We got to switch up all the graphics. They win. Everything's cured. All they needed to be was a brand new team.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm sitting here feeling just happy, like regardless of competition, regardless of what you want to say about all the other stuff. Hey, there's a team that needed that win, and the old St. Pat's got the Leafs off the schneid. Yeah. They bailed them out. They went out there and they won a hockey game. But I myself am feeling a sense of relief. I'm sure the team's feeling a sense of relief. Like ultimately, this proved nothing to anyone. It doesn't really change a ton, but it's just 2 points that they absolutely needed and they got tonight. So I'm feeling much better getting to do this show than I have in days past that we've been doing incredibly dark Leaf talks.
It's something to build off of for this team, right? And there's a lot of positives from it that I think that we're going to hit on today. But the first things first, which is St. Pat's Matthews, like he's going to wear, you know how Michael Jordan wore those North Carolina shorts underneath his Bulls uniform for his entire career? If I'm Austin Matthews, that's what I'm doing with the St. Pat's jersey. Like I'm wearing that sweater underneath my Leafs uniform because he looked materially different from the jump tonight, right?
Yeah.
Like I thought that he was skating well. He was moving well. His line was dominating early on in this hockey game. And God, it was just so nice to see him pick a top corner. So nice to see him go down to one knee and finish and get 2 goals. And I kind of thought that they would maybe push for him to get the hat trick, but they completely dialed back, rolled 4 lines for the third period. And it didn't seem like it was all that important to him, which made me feel like somewhat better about the performance. But yeah, Matthews was great tonight, man. Completely different player.
Yeah. I think just the whole team in general, and we can focus in on Matthews, but he is the captain after all. So, I don't think he's Mr. Rah guy. I don't think he's going to kick down any door and, throw any Gatorade against the wall. So he has to kind of lead by example. And I thought the whole team tonight, listen, I listened to every post-game thing after Saturday night. You could tell how pissed they were. I listened to Craig Berube today after morning skate talking about how it was a quiet morning skate because guys were pissed off. Urgency was thrown around. And I think for the first shift, they sent their captain over the boards and his line dominated for the first shift of the game that they were out there. And it really, like, not to be too, general about it, but that shift set the tone for the whole game. Really.
No, I totally agree.
It felt like the Flames were never really in the game after the first shift. Sure, it's a tie game. If it isn't for the greatness of Jordan Bean and Sam Kim with one of the greatest challenges of all time, maybe the game ends it differently when they get that power play goal. But I really felt that the captain kind of, led by example tonight, and they really, really caved them in whenever they were on the ice. It's impressive.
Again, it's going to be a game to build off of. It makes Wednesday night far more intriguing. Like, do you go back to the old habits? Do you look the same against elite competition? Or do you use this and actually have momentum go game to game? But I'm with you, man. I thought that this was like, again, some people will probably think that this is a bit of a reach, but I thought this was a leadership moment for Matthews. Like your team's up against it. You've played horribly. You haven't won a regulation win, or you haven't recorded a regulation win in 7 games. Everyone's talking about how you're not scoring. And he's been fighting it, man. Obviously, he's fighting whatever it is that doesn't allow him to be the same old Austin Matthews, and whatever that thing that plagues him this season is. I thought he battled through it, and you said set the tone, and I think that's the perfect way to put it. His line hemmed in the Flames early and often. And what did we say? Like I tweeted this after the game, the last loss. What was it, 2 nights ago? How often do you feel like the Leafs were building momentum shift to shift off of each other? And Matthews' line, by dictating in the offensive zone basically all night, I thought made it a lot easier on his teammates when they were hopping over to basically just be able to pick up where they left off.
Yep, totally agree. And they got a lot of ice time too on the power play tonight. Did they go 3 for 3 in the power play tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were 3 for 3 because I don't think they got another one. They scored 1 in the first and then 2 in the second.
Yeah, so
that's both his goals were power play goals.
And Willie banged one off the post today on that one. So it was 3 for 3.
Yeah.
So I mean they impressed on that too. Like I think they felt it as much as, and you can use the caveat here of the Flames aren't very good. And I will hear that because I thought they were pretty putrid tonight.
Well, that's just a fact. Like,
but
they're
the
the
Leafs
lowest
have
in the NHL in goals for. And if you look at their stats when they have Dustin, like when they have Wolfen versus when they have Vladar, it's like they're barely over 500 with Wolf, who's been one of the best goalies in the league, who's playing out of his mind. And when Vladar goes in, I think he's only got 8 wins in 25 games, and the numbers completely crater. Like,
but my point is that they blew a 2-0 lead to the San Jose Sharks like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Like, it doesn't really, the competition for me at this point is kind of irrelevant because, you know, even look at the Panthers when they played them last week. I know the Panthers are good, but they lose to everybody. Like, you know, the Leafs are their only win in the last 4 games that they've played. So it's like, even against competition that isn't so great, they have not played well. So this is a team that is fighting for its playoff life, is 2 points back in the Western Conference. Like, they have been around it all year. They've been a plucky team all year. And the Leafs left absolutely no doubt who was winning this hockey game. And for me, watching that was a breath of fresh air because it's been a really long time that they've put together a complete effort as they were tonight. Like, it was all 3 periods, even when they're up 6-1 in the third. Guys are diving for pucks. Guys are getting pucks in deep. They're on the forecheck. They're really engaged. And there was no like sleep moment. There was no like go to sleep moment that they've had in every single one of these games for the last 3 weeks.
No, they deserve credit for a full effort, man. Like, there's just absolutely no doubt about it. They were really good. Their captain was good. Their top line was good. Their depth was good. Their goaltender let in a leaky one after what I thought was one of their best first periods.
That made me so mad.
It was one of the best first periods that they've had all season, but they completely, like, they didn't change anything. They came out in the second and they browbeat him. Penalty kill was good. Like, there's really nothing in this game that you could point to outside of a couple of dumb penalties and a soft goal that you would take issue with this game.
No, well, okay. I will say, and maybe it's more of a like, I don't want to do negative talk, so maybe I'll save this for later, but like the fact that you reunited that third line and they all scored tonight, so that's great. But like, you know, you just immediately you give up on Lawton and you put him on the fourth line and he plays 10 minutes through 2 periods. I think he gets up to 13 because they're rolling 4 for the third period.
And then a puck goes off of him, like, just horrific luck at the end of the game. Just to give him that -1 in a game where you win 6-2.
He's like, I'm wearing this damn clover on my chest. I can't get a bounce. Like, what's going on here?
Awful. I really felt for him. You could see, too, like, his body language as you skating away from the puck. He's like, I hate this.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So, all my friends are here at St. Patty's Day. They're liquored up. They're just all gonna be making fun of me.
So I think I think the third line was very good tonight, and we've seen them play against some poorer competition where they've been really good. And like, they've had nights against the Penguins. They've had nights against like the Flames tonight. They can compete against teams' third and fourth lines that aren't very good. But the thing that scares me is that when you start game 1 of the playoffs, like, you want Scott Lawton to be your third line center or playing on your third line or having a more of an elevated role. And it just feels like maybe Berube went back to this because he knew the competition and they were so desperate for a win that he just went back to something that he's seen a bit of success with. But ultimately, I don't think the trade was a first round pick and Nikita Grabankin to replace David Kampf in your lineup. I don't think that was the plan.
Every single person that saw it today was pissed off. And what I would say is, I thought that the third line tonight was their second best line. Like, they played really well. They were buzzing all game long. I want to talk about Domi in a second, but that third line that they iced tonight, that's the kind of third line that dominates against a very bad Calgary Flames team that came in your building when you desperately need a win and you're given a A+ effort. I don't think that it's the line you want to see against the Florida Panthers in a playoff series. No. And so
you want that line going up against Nick Paul in Tampa? Like,
no, it's like, to me, it's though, if this is a situational look where they said, man, we need it against the Flames tonight and we need offense and we're going to roll with these guys and see if we can keep this rolling. Fine. But if this is like still the long-term plan, I get your frustration. I think that the tough thing is, like what you said about the trade, is it's getting really hard to see if they're already putting them down the fourth line. And I know that there's some logic behind it. You could hear the broadcast talking about it. Hickey was all over it all night. Him and Jody Shelley going, hey, he can get comfortable now. He can settle into the role. And I thought about how when the Leafs traded for Ryan O'Reilly, the last center that they moved a first-round pick for, they put him right up between Nylander and Tavares and said, go, go, go.
No, they put him on the wing.
Yeah.
Remember they put him on the wing to start that
Tavares
game. Or was it? I thought it was the first game in Buffalo where they all had 4 points or whatever.
No,
I thought he was on the wing.
Tavares over, and they let Ryan O'Reilly play down the middle. But either way, it's like, yeah, it's not what you want to see from a guy you paid a first-round pick and a top 4 prospect in your organization down on the 4th line replacing David Kampf. And if it's like that's what you got him for, I'm like, I don't know. It feels like Connor Dewar could have done that. Like that's the dudes.
He looks so much like Connor Dewar.
Yeah, he really has a lot of Dewar to him.
Like the same number, like the same sort of size. Like he's a bit bigger than Dewar, obviously, but like no flash offense. Anyways, we don't want to spend too much time crapping on this.
They'll both mix in a scrap if you need one. Both gritty guys, block a shot.
I can't imagine it being a goal. Like he's just been on. Even when they call back that goal, like he's on the ice when that enters the net. Like how many times has he been on the ice when the puck's entered the net? Yeah, feels like every game there's like multiple times where he's just hanging his head.
Putting him on the penalty kill.
I know
that's been a disaster up until tonight.
I know.
That's part of it. But yeah, I feel what you're saying. I got to tell you though, in terms of that third line, I got 2 thoughts on it tonight. Well, actually 3, but we can break them up. My first thought is this though. Credit to Nick Robertson and Craig Berube because those penalties he took were horrific. Like when that puck went in the net and before our boy Bean made what I think is the call of the season. Like, I still don't know quite. We got to see an angle where that gets overturned because it just bodies. And Bean was just like, challenge. Just press something.
I almost said something that would definitely get me in trouble.
Dude, he is incredible. Like, we did, like, what's the Leafs identity talk? It's Bean.
Beaner.
Bean is actually the, like, no doubt about it, biggest wins above replacement guy that is involved with the team. Like, you can't lose him. Remember when everyone was like, you can't lose Pridham. He's the only guy that understands the cap. It's like,
disagree.
You can't lose Bean. You gotta keep Bean. To be able to lock down this call. Look at this. If you're watching on YouTube, how, like,
no idea.
This is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, logically, he's probably over, right? Like, Kadri's probably offside. But I haven't seen anything even close to an angle that says it. Like, does this guy have a tracker in the puck? Is he cheating?
I sent a tweet about, like, I was like, Jordan Bean is absurdly good at his job, and an account, him or her, Risa, said MLSE is raising ticket prices to pay his salary.
That's a great tweet. Honestly, I do want to know that if fans are paying an extra 20% some seats, that
Bean's contract up.
Yeah. Bean for life. The one guy that, like, maybe he ends up on Legends Row someday. He puts together like 5 more years of these kind of numbers, and you can't deny Bean.
He's never lost. He's the perfect. He's Mr. Perfect.
Yeah. They hung John Bon Jovi's name in the rafters. They could absolutely hang Bean. So anyway, Robertson takes these 2 Dumbo penalties. The first one is like completely inexcusable. Like, just I don't even know what he's thinking. Like, takes a slap shot after the whistle clearly and looks a little pissed off about it. Like, what is that? That's so after the whistle. Dumb. And then he takes a penalty again, 200 feet from his own net, a careless high stick. They take a shot of Berube there. I don't know if we have it in this montage.
Oh my God.
I thought Robertson was genuinely going to be sent to the press box. Like, pack your stuff, go up there. They get that goal against, and I'm glad that Bean saved me from the tweet, but I was like, yeah, I don't know. That might be the last time we see Nick Robertson. Like, huge spot. You're on the third line. You take 2 penalties, and one of them results in a game-time goal. But credit to Robertson, dude. I just thought he was good tonight. After that, he buckled down, and he played a really solid hockey game.
And they scored one at the end, right? So that his goal ends up being the winner. So good for him. Like, that line is really good against this kind of team, and it has been all year. And like I said before, I think that's probably why Berube went back to it. And I'll give Domi I'll give him credit for taking what the Flames gave him. But has there been a worse defensive zone coverage goal, if you're watching on YouTube, than this all year? Like, they just allow him to skate right down the chute and guy wide open in the slot, bang. Like, there's just no
4 guys back.
It's like those guys are not going to enjoy film room tomorrow. That is as bad as it gets. They're lucky they're playing a back-to-back where Huska's probably like, well, flush this one, boys. We got to wake up tomorrow. Like there's no film tomorrow because it's a game day. But like at the end of the week when they have their team meeting, they're talking about that goal. Well, that was ugly.
This whole game was like a two things can be true game for me, where it's like the Leafs were dominant, they deserve all the credit in the world, but the Flames were just dreadful. Like it's like this was an awful
is an amazing pass from that angle.
It's a beautiful pass. There's no question about it. That's what Max Domi does. Okay, that brings me to the point number 2 about that line. Is Max Domi just getting hot at the right time? Like, is this just who he is? He sucks all year. He scores no goals, and then the calendar turns over to like March. And he's good because this is what happened last year.
I did some rough math last year, and this is very rough math because I just did it like in my head quickly as we were in that third period. I
got to tell you, as a longtime friend of yours who has hung out with
you. I did some adding. I was going to say,
you doing math is this disclaimer. Please let the disclaimer be advised on this math. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, we have Christian who's a mathlete, so he can look it up for me.
Yeah, that's true. That is literally Christian's top contribution.
But
so let's go mathlete.
I think in his last 21 games in March and April last year, I'm pretty sure he had 17 or 18 points.
Yeah.
Like he woke up big time at the end of last year and we were having similar conversations about him, like not contributing. And I think he had 4 points to the Leafs in the first round last year, which, you know, considering how little goals happened in that series, that's pretty impressive. So it'd be really nice if this guy was just waking up. And I thought it's been a really good stretch for him. He was great in the Florida game, noticeable against Ottawa, big goal to set the tone tonight, fires it in the net, big fist pump, gets the crowd going. It's really nice that he's kind of waking up here. And if his identity is playoff guy, that's great. Oh, wow. Look at that.
You get it right.
17 points in 21 games after March 1st last year for Domi.
Can I ask you a question?
No.
You use a calculator?
No. I added it up.
Okay.
I added it up.
Buddy, there's nothing worse than when you have to break out the calculator for simple math and you're like, I should just
double check.
Nothing makes you feel like a big dumb idiot than having to use the calculator for simple math. And I do it all the time. One thing about that line is they're scary in transition, man. When they break the puck out and they're all flying through together, it's like Robertson knows where to go. McMann knows where to go. Domi's got some of the nicest passing on. I think he's like, it's him and Marner, no question about it, in terms of like ability to dime up a saucer pass. Like he even had one in this game that didn't result in a point where it's like he threw it completely cross ice. And some of them are scary, right? Like you're worried that they'll burn you the other way. And we've complained about Max this season too. So it's like, it is a bit of a give and take. So it's going right now, but man, he looks way better. The confidence is clearly coming through. The playmaking is clicking right now. You could see why Berube is wanting to see that line, like from that standpoint when they're struggling to score.
So now he's got 4 points in his last 4 games. I'm a heat checking here, so he's getting hot. I'm heat checking with my math. Maybe I screwed it up. Don't tell me I screwed it up.
Also, the goal that he scored, like this guy has to lead the league in best shot to doesn't shoot it.
Hammered it. Yeah.
Like, gorgeous goal. Just awful rebound, but like, wow, like what a shot.
So we've spent a lot of time this year talking about, and like truly, if you were to power rank the things that we've talked about on Leafs Talk, the high would be Domi struggles because of how much he makes and his role. And it's all been fair criticism. But like, if he can wake up at this time of year, people are going to forget about the past pretty quick.
Well, that's what happened last year. That the only reason everybody remembered last year stunk is because he spent so much time stinking.
Yeah.
You went, oh boy, maybe this wasn't just a bad stretch.
Yeah.
So like what I will say though, in terms of this one is it's nice to see him do it without 34, right?
Yep.
Like last year, that was the big question mark. It's like, okay, I guess he works with playing with Austin Matthews. And you go, yeah, well, aren't a lot of guys supposed to work with Austin Matthews? Anyway, last thought on this is that was Bobby McMann's first goal in 15 games.
Felt like it. Gotta tell you, felt like it. Like it had been a long time, but
brother, that's the benefit of making no money is like you are just flying under the radar narratively.
I still
think
he's like an X factor for the team.
Yeah, no
but
doubt.
but he goes in big time stretches. Like, I don't know what his game logs are, but I can tell you, I bet you his goals have been in bunches. He goes into deep, dark slumps, and a lot of it is not playing. I mean, how many times have we said that he plays in the top 6? He looks great. You play him in the bottom 6, you lose him.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of that over the past 15 games. But
I don't even have too much of a positive to say about this. That might be the worst goal I've seen in.
Yeah, but I mean,
season.
good for him to see one enter the net.
Yeah,
I guess that's the only positive. But like, that was a puck that was going, under 50 miles an hour that just like hit the middle of the net from the sideboard somehow. So not pretty, but he'll take it. He'll take it. You can tell right there.
Stops that shot. that was real bad. Yeah. Anyway, what else from this one? What are we missing here? That's big because that line was great. Again,
can I tell you? I never I'm trying to notice Carlo, and he is so non-noticeable out there, and it's a good thing.
That's the best thing possible. If you notice Carlo, it's not good.
He scored. He was +1 tonight, 0, and he was 19 minutes.
When I noticed Carlo,
2 hits, 2 blocks.
I can tell you because I'm literally going through it right here in my notes, and this is probably the next thing that we should discuss. Was penalty kill was awesome. Like
they're except for the fake one that was offside, they were really good.
Yeah, the fake one that was offside, really good PK. But I just noticed Carlo in that. There was one play in particular where he made this beautiful read and he broke up a puck in the middle of the ice to get a clear. That was basically at the end of a power play. And he's going to be huge for them, man, in terms of turning this around. Having another body out there that isn't just like, man, they've had Connor Timmins out there and Benoit and just it's been a murderer's row of not up to par guys on the PK this season. And I know it's been bad as of late and like he's been a part of it where he's new, but I just feel like with him getting settled, there's been all these years where they go out and get different forwards like the doers that they try to inject into the PK, right? It's like 85 guys that are the same forward that have played on the penalty kill for this team, like from the doers to the yarn crocs, like go through it, you name it. They've never had a 6'6" guy with that reach who can clear the front of the net on the PK. So I really noticed him there tonight. He's good, man. He's just really good.
He better be because at least traded future Patrice Bergeron for him. So he better be good.
Okay. Yeah.
Hattie, natural hat trick for the Providence Bruins, 4 points. Yeah. Not what I wanted to see a week after the trade, boys. That's not what I wanted to see.
I was going to say, as the Leafs were in a complete spiral, and they couldn't do anything with just there was just no positive coming out of this past week and a half.
Yeah.
To look and see that Dewar had a hat trick.
No, he didn't have a hat trick. He had 2 in a game. He had 3 goals.
Oh, he had 3 goals. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Dewar had 3 goals and that
Timmins had one.
The hat trick. It was like, not now, guys. Do this later, like any time other than this. Anyway, the player of the game stuff is coming. Yeah, Matthews, unsurprisingly, 57%, Domi 30%. And then sneaky other nominees, Robertson 6 and Nylander 6. I do think that blue line, again, probably doesn't need to get a ton of credit for tonight because it wasn't like Calgary was super threatening, but I did think that it was a solid game for all of those guys where it was like not a lot of bobbled pucks in their end, a lot of good clears. Calgary didn't have a ton of dangerous opportunities. Like I thought Wool had a chance to be pretty shaky in this game, if I'm being dead honest.
Agreed.
And he wasn't feeling it. Didn't look like he was tracking it. Looked a little shaky. There was a puck off the post. And these guys did a really good job of just clearing it, not letting Calgary get anything. And I think he finished with 24 shots against, something like that. Yeah, 26. Okay, that seems high, but whatever. 24 saves, 26 shots, but a lot of them were like this, where it's just all from the outside, soft wristers, hope shots, trying to get rebounds. Toronto did a really good job of taking away the middle of the ice tonight.
Yeah, I will say, you mentioned, I was just looking at the player of the game there, and William Nylander got 6% of the vote. I think he's been pretty physically engaged here for a few games, which is nice to see. And I'm not saying that he's ever going to, be Tom Wilson out there, but he has been throwing the body a lot more in terms of using his strength and his size and getting into guys a little bit more. And scores a beautiful goal in the power play tonight. I think maybe since the Utah game, he's actually been pretty good and he's been engaged and he seems like he's pissed off that they're losing a little bit. So I don't want to go too deep into it with him because I think we've talked about him a lot, but I do think he's been really engaged physically and like mentally. And if you'll remember at the end of last year where he was chasing 100 points himself, or no, was it 100 points or 50 goals that he was chasing? Remember? Because it was like all the chases that we talked about at the end of last year. That was so fun. But he kind of went away for a while and he was really slumping towards the end of last year. And it just feels like he's really keeping himself engaged, and that's good to see. So
yeah, listen,
good game for him tonight.
I don't know if you and I talked about it off air or on air or whatever, because they blend together some of our conversations. But yeah, we've been talking a lot recently about how even throughout all these struggles, like he's been their most consistent guy, and he's the one that you feel best about on his own line. And like he has looked engaged. He's scary on the forecheck, right? Like he's just got that stick, that poke, and you feel like he's going to be able to do something with it. So yeah, he's been good. I will say too, on that power play, on all the power plays actually. That's why Mitch Marner's running point there. You know, like he made some beautiful passes, some great reads. He's just very patient with the puck up top, didn't rush anything. And that's why the power play looked different to me tonight, was just like guys weren't rushing to make decisions. They got their entries and then they were able to keep the puck. And it's like, damn, it looks pretty good when it's like that, when he's running it up top and guys have some time and space and he's able to dime them.
I don't know if this is a big picture thing or more of a rapid fire thing.
I'm done with all the big stuff from this game.
Okay.
I don't have anything else. Chat can weigh in if we miss something, but like
the thing that I loved is they're playing a ton of hockey here, and really nice to have a blowout where you can play Marner and Matthews like 16 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what did they finish? You see?
Yeah, so the highest forward was, I'm just quickly scrolling here. The highest forward
felt like they weren't on the ice at all in the third, because
Matthews played 16:56 tonight. And yeah, Willie played 15:49. Marner played 16:37. You know, like it was a really nice chance to give those guys sort of a rest within a game. And they've rarely had any of these games. Nyes played 19:50. Wow. So there you go. I guess he was a dash one.
Yeah, you perform that well on the power play. By the way, power play felt dangerous, man. And like, I think I might have this wrong, but I think that since Jan 1, like since the calendar flipped, they're second.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's been
that feels wrong, but I'm gonna say that that's right.
Well, just think about it this way though. Okay, when do they score 5-on-5?
Yeah, that's true. They don't.
It's like they're scoring somewhere.
Christian says he's checking. The dog is on the bone.
Yeah,
come on,
dog.
Christian.
I think that stat is right. If it's not, it's close. Like, I think that they're second in the league since Jan 1 on the power play.
Go Savvy, go red hot right now, Savvy.
They gave Savvy the love on the
hotter than that tie. That's for sure.
That tie, I love that tie. Are you kidding?
You're liking it, eh?
Well, for St. Pat, buddy, look at me. I'm more festive. Like, where's your green?
No.
Like, you don't care. Again, you got no Irish ancestry, though.
I wore my St. Pat's hat on the show today, so I wore green.
Yeah, that's just like we're a little bit of festive. I like the tie. It's very like camo though for Saturday.
Yeah.
Anyways, they caught him like as a fellow Zin guy. They caught him at a tough time where he's fiddling with the Zin. Been there, been there. Sucks when you're on a date and you get caught. They're like, "What were you doing?" He's no. So,
Christian says Leafs are 5th since January 1st at 29.6, but that probably doesn't include tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're good.
It definitely doesn't include tonight, but yeah, they've been really good. Power play's been good. I'm a little off on the stats. Either way,
that's close enough. The top 5, hell of a lot better than what it's been. Other rapid fire thing for me, I asked the guys to grab this,
Benoit.
but love Benoit.
Same.
Taking exception to what was an attempted murder on him. The Amazon guys were thinking that it was the response to Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and they weren't necessarily picking up Hickey's down below the benches. It's a hard angle for him to see there. But I was like, no. He tried to throw a flying elbow in his chin, and he did clip him a little bit. He didn't make full contact, but it was a dangerous shot. Like this, if you're watching, look at that angle. That is a dangerous shot. And Benoit's like, no, bud, you are not getting away with that. I am going to beat the crap out of you. And he did. And Dryden Hunt, Still playing, eh? Like I remember Dryden Hunt was on the Leafs at one point, and then nothing ever happened. But
he just dominated him too. Like he started chucking those rights over the top.
He put him right in a locker, like
Yeah,
immediately in a locker.
I was like, that's a big old 6'3" French guy.
You don't want that, man.
Who's pissed off? Who's got
in a
all
6-1 game, nothing to lose. He's like,
yeah.
I got nothing to lose. This is the perfect chance for me to just do something dirty and beat you up.
Yeah,
like his dream scenario.
Also, because that happened, I don't think that technically counted as a fight because
maybe not because he beat him up too bad. It was too quick.
No, I'm just saying that I think it's because they gave him roughing minors. I'm pretty sure Benoit didn't get 5 for fighting, but either way, it's kind of fringy. But if it does count as a fight, which I don't think it does because Hunt doesn't get the gloves off and it's sort of just like scrumming. He's just trying to punch him and beat him up.
Yeah.
But I think that would be 6 of the last 7 games where they've had a fight.
Awesome.
It's like Ryan Reaves goes away and they fight. Everybody's got to fight.
Well, it's, it doesn't like fall on one guy. It's more of like a team effort thing where it's like, we got to stand up for ourselves. We got to fight. Like, I like it. I mean, I haven't really got to tell you, I haven't, God love Ryan Reaves. Haven't missed him a ton.
Yeah. No one's writing Ryan Reaves. Where are you, sonnets?
So last thing, I guess we've waited a long time to do it. The jerseys tonight, the colors.
Oh, I got one other thing.
Okay. Okay. We'll finish with jerseys. What do you got?
Well, I don't want to get too emotional with this, by the way. Like, but they had Lanny and Daryl Sittler on the panel during the second intermission. And there's just like,
what were they talking? They're just talking about how much it loved being a Leaf.
They just talked about how much they love each other. And like, those guys are such boys. And you and I saw them. Well, we didn't see them together actually, because Lanny wasn't able to make it because of his health. But we watched Daryl Sittler choke up talking about Lanny McDonald and his wife
dinner last year.
Yeah. And what they meant to each other, and watching the two of them joke around, just classic old guy style jokes.
Nothing better.
Oh man. I would sign up. Like if they were like, hey, it's Lanny and Daryl every single time on the panel, second intermission, nothing would make me happier. I adore those two guys together. Like if you were trying to pick the guys that I didn't see, right? Like the guys that I did not watch, who I care the most about, 1A, 1B with an absolute bullet. Like there's no doubt about it. I would say like Salming was in that category. But yeah, the two guys that are remaining, it's like, God, they're just awesome, dude. Like, I loved it. I get emotional watching them. Like, I just love their brothership. Even Lanny talking about when he went and won the cup and what it meant to him, Alberta. And he's like, who's the first phone call to congratulate me when I got home is Daryl Sittler. And I'm like, God.
There's just nothing like old hockey guys.
There's nothing
like old hockey guys. It's just, there's nothing compares. And I'm sick that I missed it. But as I told you and Borny in our group chat, my wife's been gone for a week and I'm living in a literal pigsty. So she's getting back tomorrow night. I was starting the process in the intermissions. Like got a big morning before I head into the station tomorrow to make sure she's in tip top shape before my beloved wife gets home. But yeah, so I missed the intermission
for 4 afternoon beers yesterday. And I know that you just went home and crushed food in a nap.
Oh yeah.
All did not get done.
Woke up in time to watch White Lotus, basically.
Exactly. Like that's the most productive thing you got done. The most productive thing you can do is hit the thumbs up.
Jerseys.
Yeah. I'll get to the jerseys.
Okay, good.
I hate when we throw it in at the end. Hit the thumbs up on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. Again, even if you watch it on YouTube, please subscribe to the podcast channel. You can also subscribe to the JD Bunkis podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee. The jerseys. All right. This is your big shining moment. What do you got?
Well, no, I mean, we should talk about it. I think the colors are really good on ice. Really good on ice. And I wish that they would go for like a more traditional style clover, something a little bit more old timey, because I think it's a little cartoony, a little hokey. But the colors are beautiful. And my idea, like I saw what the Marlies do for their game. I think you should just ditch the St. Pat's in general and just do a Leafs jersey that's that color for St. Patrick's Day. Because the Marlies did one with their green leaf and their normal jerseys. And it's such a gorgeous color of green. But the clover to me is a no-fly zone. I don't like the clover. If you're going to go back to the old school, just like the panel that says St. Pat's, I'm down with that. But I would love to see a Leafs jersey in those colors for next year. That's my take.
So here's the thing, though. The Leafs have like anybody can do the green jersey for St. Patrick's Day.
I know the tradition. I understand
the Leafs
that.
actually have the tradition that
I
goes
get it.
back. So I hate your take. No offense.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
like,
That's fine. That's fine.
absolutely not. You absolutely honor the tradition. Like one of the cool things about cheering for an original six franchise and like a team that goes back that way is you get the opportunity to honor the past. I agree with you though. That clover on that jersey, it's just I get it. You're trying to be modern, and even with the colors,
Gen Z. It's Gen Z.
It's a very Gen Z sweater. And I'll tell you this, like as a old man now, the darker green was the best one. Like
the one with the brown pants, the one that Sundin wore,
with it, and it looked like super throwbacky. And now this is kind of like the same, I don't know, hot green that everybody does at St. Patrick's Day. So anyway, I think they look great on the ice. I think that they're not great with the Gen Z, with the Christian stuff. Like,
but that's a cool jersey for our boy Neil Jolly. Like, I feel like it's cool with that. Yeah, it's for them.
If you're like a good looking person who's under 28,
you
could wear that in public.
Not me. I need the old one.
Old. Like older green, more understated green. But again, on the ice, it's 10 out of 10 beautiful. Like
especially against those red jerseys of the Flames, that was a spectacular color matchup. One that you don't see very often, right? Like there's not much green in the league. I saw that the Wild were wearing their green ones tonight, which are gorgeous. And it was like that green versus those LA Kings whites. It's like, green is such an underutilized color in the league. Like Dallas has that like really gross green. I think their green sucks.
So mad that Minnesota just got to take like that color scheme, like the North Stars.
But not to go full jersey talk, but like the Stars when they won the cup jerseys were perfect with like the star logo with like the forest green. Those were unbelievable. But like need more green in the league.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
Yeah.
The Zubovs.
The Zubovs. Oh, what a stud. Maybe most underrated player, like maybe in the history of the league. Unbelievable player.
You know who I was thinking is just crazy underrated though? Because Cale Makar, we're into the deep talk here, but he's on pace to score 30 goals. First guy since Mike Green in 07, 08.
Yeah.
I was looking it up. It's like only 17, like it's only happened 17 times where a defenseman scored 30 goals, which feels like low, right? You're
That's
like,
not many times.
No, well, there's a lot of guys that are like 29, 28 doorstepping it, but it's like, I think again, I'm doing off the top stats night here.
Oh boy, dangerous.
But I think it was Bobby Orr 5 times out of the 17.
That's crazy.
Or 4. No, it's 4 times out of the 17.
Coffee had to be up there a couple times.
3 times out of the 17. But it was like, like you just saw Phil Housley on that list, and then he's like a right around it year over year. And I'm like, wow, talk about a guy that just like never gets talked about as like
great Leafs career.
But what a stud shot. And like, he had 30 the one time, but he was 29. He was like right on the fringes. Another like, I don't know, just underrated. That was all I could think about with his career. Like looking at his numbers, where I'm like a guy that no one ever talks about ever.
It's true. And last thing I'll say related to St. Patrick's, crowd seemed a little greased tonight. Seemed like they'd been partaking in a few Guinness and a few green beer, little wave action going on. Like greased up crowd on a Monday night. Gonna be some late showing up or work from home situations tomorrow on a Tuesday.
Well,
I think I'll work from home today. It's TTC is not running too well. I think I'll work from home.
They said there's delays. I had to take my kid to school. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of those tomorrow. My thought on that though too is like it touches though too on what you said at the beginning of the show. Like that team needed it. The fans needed one like this. Just one 100%. Non-stressful, annoying game, just an easy
party
one.
night.
Like, this is not going to be a fun stretch run, right? Like, I don't think anybody's strapping in thinking like, oh yeah, definitely cup run. Like,
it's like the Leafs are fixed. They rinsed the crappy Flames. Like, great.
Which is fun. And so I thought that the crowd going to that game, like, if you're a real fan, like I'm sure a lot of people went to that game just like, hey, it's a Monday night, I'm going, and it's St. Patrick's Day, it's gonna be fun. They got St. Patrick's, you bought those tickets well in advance.
Yeah.
But if you're a real fan going to that game, that could have been nightmare zone. Like 100%. You watched them suck, and then they would have blown that lead to Calgary there, where it's like it's 2-2 after the power play. You're sitting there like, oh my God, Nick
our
Robertson.
Beloved Bean. Bean. Yeah. We love you, Bean.
Yeah, I agree, Ivan Mishev. Naming a guy talk is the best, and that naming a guy talk is truly top
one.
tier elite stuff. Getting to pull like remembering old Leafs, but like old stars from your youth. Like, yeah, what do we do tonight? Like Zubov, Housley. Anyway, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. Thanks to Christian. Thanks to show. Thanks for everybody that watched this. Again, like, subscribe, review, follow, do all those things. We'll see you Wednesday night after the Avs game.